Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and I love starting the show with world-class hypocrites, and there are none better than hopelessly out-of-touch celebrities, whether they're Hollywood stars or singers like Billie Eilish.
Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. And if you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties. Love you guys.
Billie, why stop at billionaires? Your net worth is reportedly well north of 50 million US. Why? Why haven't you given it all away? Why are you charging more than $100 for the cheapest tickets to your concerts? Don't you have enough? Poor dim-witted hypocrite Billie has been sharing her daft political ideas for several years now. Remember this back in 2020, campaigning for the Democrats. She seriously thought Joe Biden was the saviour. Lord.
You don't need me to tell you things are a mess. Donald Trump is destroying our country and everything we care about.
Let's check in now with the world's biggest victim and gaslighter, Michelle Obama. This is really too much, even by her poor me standards.
You said we were all too aware that as a first black couple, we couldn't afford any missteps.
Yeah.
And you also say, as a black woman, I was under a particularly white hot glare. Did you feel that?
For sure. You can't afford to get anything wrong because you didn't get at least until the country came to know us, we didn't get the grace that I think some other families have gotten.
The truth is the Obamas weren't treated like other first couples. They were treated a lot better. It was endless adulation. And on the rare occasions when there was some criticism from a couple of conservatives in the media, well, the rest of the media mob would be there to defend the couple, to attack anybody who would dare criticise this pair. You want to talk about lack of grace? Look at how Melania is treated. Michelle had how many Vogue covers? Talking about gaslighting, let's go to Lefties Losing It regular now, the woman who is among the most vile creatures to ever feature on MSNBC, and that is a crowded field, folks. Here is Jennifer Welch with an ugly diatribe against Riley Gaines. A genuine women's rights warrior is Riley Gaines, who has campaigned to keep male bodies out of female sports, and she has been attacked for that work every day. Attacked by the likes of this bitter banshee.
One thing I want to say about Riley Gaines, as she sits there and has the moral high ground against AOC, when I look at people, if I were to say who's more Christ-like, I would pick AOC and the atheist Jew Bernie Sanders and the Muslim Zoran Mamdani a million times over you, Riley Gaines, because Riley Gaines, all you do is hate on people. You are wound up like a cheap clock over trans people. You show them no grace, no compassion.
Yes, Riley Gaines is the one who lacks grace. Well done, Jennifer. Another sane take from you. Remember last week she was championing crazy women who wanted conservatives to be shot dead? Yes, so much compassion, so much grace. That rant might be aimed at Riley Gaines, but it really would be better aimed at a mirror. Every accusation is a confession.
And then you have the audacity to get on television and try to lecture people who fight for the people that are suffering, that stand and put their arms around people that need sanctuary. And you try to act like you're better than they are. You're an insufferable. Nobody likes you. And no matter what, you will always have been the dumb that tied for 5th place.
In the mirror, Jennifer, repeat it into a mirror until you develop a soul, you delusional, lying, bile-filled lunatic. Now let's get back to daft celebrities, this time from the acting world. And here is a Turkey campaigning for Christmas. Here is Mandy Patinkin campaigning for Zoran Mamdani. He wants him to not just take over New York City, but also America and then the world.
We are going to win this because we have this extraordinary human being who is going to lead our city and eventually, if we're really thinking, our nation and the world to a better, safer, all-inclusive existence. And that's what I love about this guy.
You know, someone in Kamala Harris's team needs to have a word with her. Needs to have a serious talk with the former vice president about doing interviews after happy hour. I mean, this is just unedifying.
Are you kidding me? This guy wants to create a ballroom for his rich friends while completely turning a blind eye to the fact that babies are going to starve when the SNAP benefits end in just hours from now? Come on. So what? I'm not going to be distracted by, oh, does the guy have a big hammer? What about those babies?
Now, what is truly disturbing about Kamala Harris, other than the gross incompetence, the pathological lying, the wine mum bravado, is the fact that she apparently believed her own propaganda. She believed the fake news, the discredited polls that said she was going to win. The woman was delulu.
I was in a state of shock.
Really? Did you think the day before that you were going to win the election? Yeah. And so when did the proverbial penny drop?
When I got a call from my campaign manager that it looks like we need 200,000 more votes that we can't find. Meaning it's just the map, the numbers. And the thing I kept saying over and over again, I was in a state of shock. I was so inarticulate, but maybe very articulate. What I kept saying over and over again is, my God, my God, my God.
Really?
Over and I couldn't stop.
Joining me now is Newsweek's senior editor-at-large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel, Josh Hammer. Josh, Kamala was so inarticulate and she was also very articulate. Work that out. She can't even recount that story in an articulate way. But she really thought she was going to win this.
Yeah, Rita, Kamala Harris not being articulate. When have we heard or seen that before? Oh, yeah, we've seen that or heard that literally every single time Kamala Harris gets behind a microphone or in front of a camera. I mean, where in the world would she have gotten this notion that she was going to win the election, win all the swing states? I don't know. I mean, just thinking about myself, yours truly, on my last podcast episode prior to the election, Rita, I said Trump's going to win all 7 swing states. I mean, not to pat my own back too hard, but, you know, it wasn't like that hard to see coming, honestly, because the trends were getting very, very similar to 2016. Back in 2016, Trump was still trailing in the Real Clear Politics average, all the polling averages going into the election versus Hillary, but he was trending in the right direction there. And if you kind of looked in the second, third layer polling data, you could see indications that he was on the precipice of a monumental victory. So, too, was actually even more obvious, I would say, in 2024. So, look, this is just a classic example of Kamala Harris, as we've seen from so many other Democratic politicians here in the U.S., of just getting high on their own supply, of getting advice and guidance from their advisors and their consultants who are deep in the bowels of blue check Twitter, or I guess these days on Blue Sky. They're not even on Twitter, but they're so far deep in the weeds of their own echo chamber, they don't even know how to find reality anymore. And that is the current state of the Democratic Party in a nutshell. Kamala Harris is just a high-profile example, I think, of their woeful state.